Welcome to Soul Spark Tarot. I'm your host, Mr. Anu, Coach Anu, Coach Henson, whatever you prefer. Today we got our Soul Spark reading for today. It's our daily I'm trying to get into. And what these messages are is just to see what kind of energy it's going to be vibing with. And because these are the change deck, it's always about trying to see which energies we can change, whether that's energies in our immediate environment on a daily or energies within ourselves. But those two things go hand in hand. And then that helps us handle the changes that we cannot alter. And those are the things external to our homes. So, shuffle the cards. We'll pull a card, talk about it, see what needs to be known. And then I'll bid you adieu. Sometimes these are short, sometimes they're a little bit longer, but they're nothing like the hour longs that I tend to just do or I'll be yapping. I didn't do anything, so you guys are seeing me do it all. Just pray over the card and reading. I'm shuffling like a motherfucker, but I'm about ready. All right. So, what are the energies like for today? This wants to come out, but I don't want to pull it. I'll show it. Glad I showed it. So Windfall wants to come in today. It wants to come in today. Let's see some more about that. A little preview. Again, that's like a trailer. Something regarding this day deals with some windfalls. And for me, I learn from my readings. I be expressing. And so when I listen to them or when I reflect back on them, it helps me out for the next day. So like this morning, I didn't feel the greatest, but I just followed my normal routine, but ended up doing some different shit on the way, and I ended up in a new spot, which was an old familiar spot, and in that space, I was able to like start to change and move around and do things to really help me shift that feeling that I was having. I volunteered some extra time, you know, and I feel better. Here I am. So leaving. So we got the energy of leaving. Now I think this is cool because that's kind of what I was just saying in my little yap session right there. You know, I had to leave the old emotions by just doing it. I couldn't think about it. I just had to do what I was going to do. Then I had to flow with the go. Again, I was already going, but then there's nobody on the road. So instead of driving in my neighborhood in the right way, I just drove in the middle of the road because there's no motherfucking body there. So I just took advantage of that little opportunity I had of owning that road. And, then I just started doing the right thing and it was no problem being true to me. And that's what happened. That's why I'm telling y'all, I just decided to do that random thing. I felt bad and I did a bad thing. I'm not supposed to be driving however the fuck I want on the road, but I did it. And again, it helped me shift that energy, that bad energy, that feeling of like, you know, and then I left it. So tell us a little bit more about leaving. And then I'm gonna grab the book because that's what I feel like I need to do today. Give a little bit more insight for you guys in a practical way, and then I'll give you my thoughts about it here behind it, and then we'll move forward. So let me get one more card for leaving. What are we leaving? What's leaving us? What's going on today? I know it has something to do with windfall, but something is going. Maybe the fear of not being able to take care of yourself. That's a windfall of new emotions. new feelings. I know we all want money. We all want finances, and even if you don't have finances, you want more balance or security in them or something. But then there's a few of us who don't give a fuck at all because they're sound. So they might be looking at careers or relationships or friendships. You know, everybody has a hole that they're filling at some point in time in their life. And the idea that I try to teach is you have to make the space around that hole bigger than that hole itself. And so if you zoom out, again, it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's still there. You just treat it like it's something minuscule. And it is, no matter, even if it's monumental, just a monumental peak in that one moment. So because it's just in that one moment, and your life is not a single moment. It's just minuscule. It's minute. It's a small segment. It's 1 second out of the 60 in the minute. 1 second out of the 36, what, 3,600, 36,000, 3,600 seconds in an hour. Again, that should mean nothing. Just one little tick. One out of 3,600, bro, you wouldn't give a damn. So we got to start doing that. Let's leave some of those old tendencies behind. Tell us a little bit more. Support. There you go. So leaving support. And what else? And grief work. So got my crystals on there from yesterday still. So if I had to like use them just because I was drawn to them, I would have to say that the grief work deals with the love side. The support side comes from the emotions, and then the leaving deals with the heart again. And so I think what you're doing is, or what we need to do today is to leave the things that we love. And I know that sounds crazy, but the idea is if we was to use this energy based upon the energy of the week, we're leaving the things that we love that we necessarily don't need. And what do? We can replace that with other things that we love that we know we need. So it's not really leaving it behind. It's leaving the amount of time that I'm spending on it. And now I can leave, let's say you drink every single day. You can leave that daily drinker behind. And then you can go to a 3 times a week drinker. And then if you are a 0 days out the week worker outer, and then you can leave the zero, you can go to one a week. So whatever which way you can try to swing it, go find something that you love. And I say love because again, if you love it, you'll shine light upon it. Support. So now we're leaving these things and we're going to find support. So again, the old support systems of the old versus the new support systems of the new. Some of those new support systems might be the old support systems from the past, just applied in a new way, and then vice versa. So you might have some new shit that you didn't realize you were already doing. So the idea is we are looking for new ways to support what we just left. And this is great because did you just leave yourself? You leaving yourself behind? Are you stopping yourself from doing something that you enjoy? Yes. So there's going to be grief just because something is being left and it's a part of you. But what you should do is welcome the new. And I'm Mr. and dude trying to tell you this too. I'm trying to let you know that you're going to have an experience of grief just because you're leaving. And so, no matter which way you go, if you can find a new way to support yourself, again, support the part of you that is grieving that it has to stop doing the drinking every single day kind of thing, or be the zero workouts a week. Be okay with that person is going to grieve. That ego needs to grieve. Be the support to that. But do not let the grief stop you from supporting what you're leaving and welcoming the new. Do not let that stop you from supporting yourself and saying, well, you can do it. Look, we got grief over here. Don't let the grief be there for no reason. This ego is grieving. I'm sad. You're gone. It's broken. But then what if you come back and was like, I guess not. No, no. Then all that crying and all that pain was for nothing. If you're going to leave, make sure you leave it and support this part because this part will in then turn support you after you have left. So welcome to new. I want to see what's behind here. Again, I like to always remind you this the bottom of the deck is the root chakra for me. And so as we root and ground ourselves in this welcoming the new energy by leaving things in the past, finding new support systems, and supporting our own griefs because we left, these are the outcomes that we should have on our crown or our mind. Okay. The information we got coming in, and then the information we can see it through our third eye, and the information we can project back up, and then the information we have to get allow time to process and be received. And sometimes that's just instantaneous, but the idea is you gotta receive, filter, project it, and then you have this exchange before it gets downloaded into your body as a root. And it has to do this exchange all the way down through the chakras. In other words, I gotta it's like playing telephone, right? And then I gotta say what I gotta say to this person, and I hope that the message is being conveyed to this person properly. And so, in the sense of your intuition, when you get your download at the crown, you have to go back and forth, and then they got to go back and forth, and then they got to go back and forth. But what should happen is it should go like this, and then you just keep adding. But because we keep it in a boundary of two, we don't know how to open up to three. Again, we tend to get to this point and then we'll accept it. And then it's just a verbal. Or then get to this point and then it's just a heart issue. Or get to the next point and it's just a courage issue or confidence thing. So the idea is once you can ground that energy, that download all the way into the root, then you can start to grow everything from that download and then everything can see it from their own point of view. Because that's the whole point. This root in the classroom will be not the teacher, but what the teacher is presenting. If it's a worksheet, it doesn't matter. Everyone has the same standardized worksheet, even the teacher. Because that's the foundation of the root, how you view that worksheet now is what these different chakra areas are. And so, because we're viewing welcoming the new through these sensations, we got to go find out what needs to be left individually. How do we support what is being left individually? And we got to understand we're going to experience grief because that thing is leaving. So we got to find a new support system because we have a hole. But we already have that because we're welcoming something else, something is leaving too. So we can't just support the grief. We got to support the try, the effort, the new. So I want to see what's under here because, again, how is this growing? We're growing from something intuitive and adult children. So again, that tells me it's a mindset on how we treat ourselves. How do we view ourselves? How do we talk to ourselves? Are we telling ourselves things that we need to do? Or are we giving ourselves opportunities as adults because we can now? Gives you more control, gives you more understanding of the control that you already have, but it allows you to see your options. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to grab the book so you can understand a little bit more about the leaving. All right. So as we're leaving, this card confirms that you already know it's time to leave a toxic situation. You've done your best to heal the conditions, but sometimes the circumstances become intolerable. And at the healthiest choice is to move on. This naturally brings up feelings of confusion and insecurity. However, rest assured that whenever you're on the right path, which you are, everything works out for the best. So again, you're going to be grieving the things that you're leaving. You're going to be grieving the fact that you're leaving, but you can support yourself in a lot of different ways. So figure out the best way to support yourself. My recommendation is to give yourself words of practice now so you can use them later. Like, it's okay. I got you. Oh, you can cry. All the stuff that you would say to another person, practice just saying it, because whenever you feel it, just say it as if it's a whole nother person. And then you'll start to feel that other sensation, which is somebody is supporting me. But it's you supporting you. You're just treating yourself as if it's somebody else because you can't. You were chilling there and then you were feeling a certain way. And so you can affirm to yourself with these words of, I got your back, or I got you, me. I got myself. You don't have to worry. Things like that to help the mind understand. Again, this is our crown. You want to get the downloads of what would be the best way to support your grief. And so in this case, use your metacognitive terms: who, what, when, where, why, hows. Evolve yourself into the coulda, woulda, shouldas. Do what you can to determine what is needing the support. You got to determine it. Your departure doesn't need to be sudden or drastic. Like a butterfly building a cocoon, you can plan and prepare for this transition right now. You can even make your exit gradual so that you feel comfortable and secure during this healthy change. So it's all about support. That's what this is all about. Leaving is all about gradually supporting or rapidly supporting yourself, whichever verb choice you have, whether that's fast or slow, whatever verb choice you create, support yourself. Now, for those who don't really need any support in a thing or an action or a verb, this also means letting go of fear. And I think that is a huge one, considering that the only reason why we're grieving is because it's the fear of who we are when it's gone, the fear of what it is when it's not here. What am I going to do? Oh, freaking the fuck out. Even if you are, support that. Hey, you tripping right now, but you know what? Hey, I got you, bro. Whatever you need. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I would tell any student, any person, any parent. Well, I think you emotional right now. I think that's okay. Get it the fuck out. Talk to us. Get it out of you. And then we can start to feel what the fuck we're feeling in a little bit different of a way. In a way that doesn't say, ah, in a way that say, oh man, that fucking sucks. And you use more words. And then you can start saying, what sucks? Who sucks? Where did it suck? Why was it sucking? What is the problem? You can start to use more. But if I'm just mad and I ain't doing nothing, and if I'm trying to hide it, and if I'm trying to pretend, it stays in the dark. So bring some light to yourself by giving yourself some love. And that love is the freedom to be yourself authentically. And that authentic you is just a human at this point. And you got feelings and emotions, but you got the ability to learn, and you got intellect as well. So you got to do both. You got to intellectualize your mind, intellectualize your emotions, but then you got to emote your emotions and emote your mind. So you got to be balanced, and you got to support all of those parts. So if you are fearful, you might be scared to support something that you find unfamiliar or even downright opposite to your morals and values. Again, these are metacognitives. These are things that are not real for the physicality, but they're definitely real for your emotional. So you have to go in there and understand that the emotional body can be protected just like the physical body can. And it isn't about hiding and running away from certain things. It's about addressing the fact that these things exist. They've been identified. And this is just school now. School teaches you a bunch of stuff all throughout your curriculum. And I love doing this part because and when I used to teach, I taught some classes, some topics individually. Then I taught self-contained classrooms. And in the self-contained classroom, I have to teach all subjects. And I like that a lot because I got one class and I teach them everything. And I was able to connect everything a lot better. But I was teaching just social studies in my last position. And at that, I was preparing for what we call the civics test. The civics test, it has questions from all the kids' years. And so when I was going over the test and I'm telling them like it's 100 questions, you got to know it all. It's cumulative. You can't you can retake it, and but if you don't pass, you don't graduate, kind of thing. Like I'm just letting these eighth graders know, even the seventh graders too. And when we reviewed it, all the fears disappeared. Why? Because they realize that they've been accumulating so much knowledge and information, they just forgot. And so, my whole point of my lesson outside of the objective of the day, which was to review the civics test, my real life lesson, my coaching, my spiritual lesson was to show them that these things just need to be supported in a way. How can I re trigger myself? And so, what we did was we took the test and we just only gave them like 5 seconds or 10 seconds or something like that. So if you were a slow reader, obviously that was not beneficial for you. But the idea was if you can begin reading that sentence and a memory isn't triggered for you, then you don't know that deep enough or well enough at this point. And so the idea was to teach them how to let that question go. Just move on. You only got 10 seconds, bro. If it's not coming up to you, you need to move forward because you're going to lose your time and it's going to make things in the future suffer. And so, guess what? The very first question was, when does America celebrate Independence Day? Well, it's coming up here July 4th. And so I wanted to tell them that because everybody read that question. It was like, oh, that's easy as hell. And then I was able to show them, when did they learn that? And they learned that in kinder. Kinder is when we teach kids about Independence Day. And we continue to develop about that over the course of your grades. But the first time we introduce it to you is the second year of school, sometimes the first. And so that is a long ass time ago for eighth graders. And that's what I was trying to tell them. You are so much smarter than what you know. You are a wealth of knowledge. That is the adult side to you. You're not a child, and even children got a ton of information in them. But as an adult, you got a whole bunch of knowledge. But you learned that stuff such a long time ago that you might say you forgot. No, you just forgot how to recall it. You forgot about it. You left it alone. You didn't let it build a relationship with you to where it can always be with you. But there's some things that you did. And now you can start to pay attention to all the classes you enjoyed versus the classes you didn't enjoy. And then you can start to realize that you probably are making mistakes in your current life because you are enjoying things in one class, but you're in a different class now. Yes, you can use math in science, but bro, the science objective is observation and to see what we can learn from that observation. That's it. It's looking at stuff, watching, what the fuck, and asking questions. What the fuck is that? Oh my God. What the fuck is this? Why is this happening? Yeah, again, and then motherfuckers take the time and become smarter and smarter about it because they spending more and more time on it. And the more time you spend on it, the more intelligence you have about the policies, the procedures, the operations of whatever you're looking at, whatever rules its functionality is. And so, again, you're leaving some things that are a part of you, and these things that are a part of you might be things that even was a part of your innate nature. But a caterpillar cannot fly and a butterfly can't. A caterpillar crawls and climbs. A butterfly has wings, it flies, but it has that ability. And so that's the whole key. It has that ability. It just might be something that we don't use all the time. And so, guess what? If you don't use it all the time, you're going to lose it. But sometimes you need to lose the things you do use all the time. So you can leave more space for those old things to come back in. And those old things that's been suppressed, again, they've been suppressed. Even if you don't even feel like you're consciously suppressing it, it's still creating grief because not a single day out the week can I go outside? Or am I grounded or something? What the fuck? What? So again, you're always going to be hurting yourself. Always. Just get that in your head, which means you always got to keep space in your heart, in your life for some grief. But in that space of grief, that's a zero. You can have cycles, loops, all kind of things occur. You can have zoom ins and zoom outs. You can have projections. All this stuff can come inside that zero, but it doesn't influence or change anything. And that's the great thing about the placeholder zero and the space holder zero. But the numeric zero does have a physical application. Because if I give you one and I put two zeros on there, you know that's not the same as a one with five zeros. So because we can see this physical difference of the application, we have to be able to see the differences between how we're applying ourselves. And I'm telling you, there's two ways. If you leave something and you find some happiness and you support that happiness, you're going to have grief because you left something, and that something that you left is not getting support. You left it. So it just understand that loop and that cycle is always going to be there, but that's okay, because now when you change your mind about things hurting you, right? You can always be your own first support system. And once you leave the idea of needing other people to support you when other people are trying to hurt you, now you can really take on that notion of being Swiss cheese. Oh, you can just be in any of these places now. I'll put the grief in one of those places. Again, like we said, we can wash out the Swiss cheese because that block has holes. We can cleanse ourselves because we're open. And that's the whole idea. It sounds bad to be open to grief. But if we're open, that means we're open to it coming, staying, leaving, going, but it's not going to preoccupy my entire existence. You can choose one of these bedrooms in this house, bro. It doesn't matter where you sleep. The idea is I'm sleeping where you're not. I'm going to support myself in that. And if you need some toilet paper, I'm going to support that too. I'm just not going to be where you're at. So let that fear go of being that new person, because you can know to how to support yourself in a lot of different ways. You can be that zero in a lot of different areas, not changing much, but you can value the change that you're creating if you were there. Again, if I had to actually be a placeholder and be called 1,000 versus 100, versus if I'm insignificant and we call me 0.95. Again, I know I'm bringing this math stuff, but I'm trying to show you the application of the zero on this side and on that side. So you can see the application of the support on this side and then the support on that side. So support your grief as you're leaving things, and support your grief of the struggle of starting things anew. Here's the physical side. You might be releasing an addiction. Again, but the same thing is, if you're going to release that addiction, hold some space for that grief, hold some space for yourself for a potential relapse. Just again, it's opportunity for these things to be there or not. Potential is what we call this in science. But in the science classroom, there's lots of ways to see potential, just like when you see the potential of a friend or the potential of a lover or the potential of an employee or a job. We can see these things already. But the idea is, how are we viewing these things? And so when we're releasing an addiction, we have a potentiality that we enjoy to the point to where we make that potential practical. So we have to let those things leave, so then the potential of something new can come in. And so when something new comes in, it might automatically make that old thing flee. For instance, if you are a smoker, and if you go and do a exercise class and you are dying and you're tired, guess what? That exercise class might make you not want to smoke, especially if the exercise is starting to be the new, more supportive feature in your life. So you still got to grieve the fact that you can't smoke. So maybe burn an incense kind of thing, because so you can still be in the smoke, right? But it's not going inside you. So then it's not impacting your workout. So then you can benefit the workout, you see the benefits from the workout. Then you can start to see the benefits of not being a smoker. So again, notice I'm going around in a circle, but the circle is flipping sides. It's like flipping the coin. This is what we call a Mobius strip. Okay. It's one lap, two laps, but those things equal one lap. Imagine it as 50 cents over here, 50 cents over there. One together, we call it a whole dollar. So, or 100 cents. Two different ways to say the new thing. Travel. We're talking about traveling, moving from place to place, supporting your mind in different areas, from different mental space to mental space. Doing all of these things here. We're leaving, we're traveling, we're moving to something new. Or you might have a family member that is moving, leaving home. Maybe you kick somebody out and you're sad. Maybe somebody graduated. I mean, it is that time, the summer. Maybe you got some people coming back because, again, school just ended. It is that time for people to be coming back home. So the idea is there's changes. Maybe you can't spend time walking around naked in your house no more because your kids is back from college now. Dang it. Y'all need to go. Or maybe your kid just graduated high school, your last one, and finally you can start walking around your house naked with your spouse or by yourself, whatever. The idea is there's a part of you that's always going to grieve to support that self. There's a part of you that's going to struggle on what's coming anew, support that self, but make sure that you understand what needs to be left out of your life. And at the end of the day, just welcome the new. And with that being said, I'm Mr. Anu, and I'm going to bid you adieu. Peace.